So there were a number of things that cropped up at the Grand Prix at the weekend, the Dutch Grand Prix, that I want to talk about. I haven't had a chance to make a video until now, so I'm a bit late on it. But what I'm probably going to do is probably two videos because there's certain things I need to talk about and certain things that I need to go through the audio clips with, and I know it's going to take a little bit of time. First thing that I want to do is to take a look at the data. Now, we've been saying over the last week or two that the FIA have changed the regulations. Well, this is a fact that they have changed the regulations to make it clear in the regulations that teams aren't allowed to have braking devices on their cars which produce asymmetric braking on their cars. And I made videos saying that it was rumoured that Red Bull were cheating in this regard. Now, we don't know. We probably never will, because the reality is Red Bull will never admit it. The FIA won't tell us. But the fact that they've changed the regulations, or they've not changed the regulations, they've made an amendment to them to make it certain sure that nobody is doing that, would tend to indicate that somebody was doing that. And if you were doing that, that's called cheating. It's not a grey area or a loophole. These are terms that have been introduced into situations to make it seem as though there is some sort of justification for doing it. All right? No, that's not how it is. Okay? There are rules and there are purposes. Everything is grounded in context. And essentially, with Formula One, over the years, the teams would try things, and then the FIA would look at it and go, no. They might allow it for a season, and at the end of the season, close that option off. Okay, the notion of asymmetric braking and driver aid, has been closed off. So in the past, when there was no regulations which outlawed such a thing, when teams introduced it, it wasn't illegal then. Okay, that's not a loophole or a grey area, right? That's called innovation. Like DAS with the Mercedes team, the DAS system was called innovation. Okay, in the regulations at the time, it would have stated that the two front steered wheels could be steered utilizing the steering wheel. All right, fair enough. You couldn't alter the position of those steered wheels any other way. All right, that's what would have been covered in the regulations. Mercedes came up with the idea of adjusting the tracking angle of those wheels on the move. Now, obviously, normally you'd do that. You'd have to be stationary and they'd have to make manual adjustments to do such a thing. You're not allowed to have a button whereby you press a button and, say, electronically, these wheels adjust their tracking angle. Mercedes designed this system whereby you still use the steering wheel to adjust the position of the front wheels, but by changing the axis in which you use the steering wheel, by the push-pull motion as opposed to the normal steering motion of moving the wheel from left to right, you were able to change the tracking angle of those wheels. It wasn't outlawed. Okay, it was innovative. What performance advantages it gave? Probably next to nothing in terms of within the race, but it probably helped keep the tyres warmer in, for example, a safety car situation, giving them an advantage on the restart. That's probably the likely advantage and likely benefit it afforded the Mercedes for the season that they were allowed to run it. Wasn't illegal, wasn't a loophole, wasn't a grey area. It was innovation and it wasn't outlawed. Okay, at the time that they designed it and introduced it. Driver aids, asymmetric braking has already been outlawed. So if that is what a team was doing, then they were cheating. Simple as that. Now, why have I come back to that before talking about the Dutch Grand Prix? We need to look at what we're seeing here. We know that since the change of regulations, which is the 2022 season onwards, this Red Bull car has been a rocket ship. We know that. Not so much this year. Now, what I'm going to do is take you through 3 years worth of data for 3 different drivers, and we're going to start off with Lewis Hamilton, and we're going to start back in 2022. If we look at the 2022 Dutch Grand Prix, and we look at Lewis Hamilton, 4th position. So if you're watching this on a big enough size screen, hopefully if you're watching it on your laptop, you'll be able to see this. On your phone, won't be as easy to see. Lewis Hamilton, the fourth position driver. Okay, the race time is going to be different from year to year, based on whether there's a safety car or a red flag or things like that. Also, the weather conditions are going to affect this, but it's going to give a good general idea. So, 4th position, and his fastest lap in 2022 was 1 minute 13.85 seconds. So Hamilton, 1 minute 13.85. In 2023, Hamilton was in 6th position. His fastest lap, 1 minute 13.90. So the year before, 1 minute 13.85. 2023, 1 minute 13.9. And this year, 2024, he was the fastest lap holder up until the last lap when Norris nicked it. And Hamilton's fastest lap, 1 minute 13.87. Am I looking right? Yeah. 1 minute 13.87. Lewis Hamilton, 8th position, 1 minute 13.87. So this year, 1:13.87. Last year, 1:13.9. The year before, 1:13.8. Not a lot of difference there, is there? Not a lot of difference. Now we'll look at Max Verstappen. So back in 2022, Max Verstappen set a fastest lap, obviously blitzed the race, okay? Fastest lap, 1:13.65. 2023, 1:13.88. And this year, fastest lap, 1:14.75. Well, that's about a second a lap slower. So again, this year, Max Verstappen, 1:14.75. Last year, 1:13.88. And the year before, 1:13.65. If Adrian Newey is such a genius, how come his car is getting slower? Now people will say, oh, it's not Newey's car, this one. It is, okay? If you have this Red Bull car, then this is the set of regulations that run us till 2026, and Adrian Newey designed the car, and that fundamental base car is going to be the fundamental base throughout this period of time. So, although Adrian Newey has announced that he's now leaving the team, for you to believe that Adrian Newey has had no hand in the design or the development of the 2024 car, I think you're naive. But this is the other key. If you know that you've got a 2022 car and a 2023 car, and your 2024 car that you've designed and made modifications to, and that's slower, well, you'd revert back to what was faster, wouldn't you? That would be common sense, wouldn't it? And the regulations, that they do make tweaks to the regulations, but they've not made major tweaks that have slowed teams down in that manner. They've done that when Mercedes was dominating, not so much when Red Bull dominate. So again, we'll go through these times. Max Verstappen, 1:13.65 back in 2022. So there it is, 1:13.65. 2023, 1:13.88. 2024, second this time round, 1:14.75. And bear in mind, you'll get this notion of Brundle will be saying, oh, it's a lot more different in the dirty air when you're following somebody. You're not in dirty air when you're 20 odd seconds behind somebody. Okay? That airflow coming off the back of the car in front, that's no longer affecting you. And remember, Max was in the lead of that race for a period of time. He didn't just disappear off into the distance like he has done in the previous years. Now we're going to look at Lando Norris. So we'll start back in 2022 for Lando Norris. Back in 2022, Lando Norris came 7th. His lap time, best lap was 1:14.7. Then moving into 2023, Lando Norris came 7th again. And it's 1:14.39. This year, Lando Norris is the winner, 1:13.81. 1:13.81. So again, significant improvement from McLaren. We'll go back to 2022. Lando Norris was 1:14.7. We then go 2023. Lando Norris is 1:14.39. And this year, 1:13.81. 1:13.81. So significant improvement from McLaren. But if you compare that 1:13.81 time with Max's time of last year, 1:13.81, 1:13.88 from Max. And the year before, 1:13.65 from Max. So what is going on? Is Max getting worse? Well, he wasn't worse for the first 5 races of this season, was he? This is still Super Max, the best you've ever seen. This is the GOAT of the sport. Somebody's beating the GOAT of the sport by 23 seconds. Does that make them the new GOAT? Okay, who's talking about that? Is Lando Norris now the best driver you've ever seen because he's beating Max Verstappen by 23 seconds? Or is it because that McLaren car is now better than the Red Bull car? Okay, because you can't have it both ways. Okay, strap-on fanboys that will come here to troll the comment section. You know, they'll tell us that Max is the best. They'll tell us that Max can do it in any car. Oh, but the reason that Lando's beating him is just because it's the car. Oh, but if Max hasn't got the best car, then Max can't do it then. See how it works? See how that works. But look at what is really going on then. Why is Max unable to replicate the times that he was doing at the Dutch Grand Prix for the 2 previous years? Why is he almost a second a lap slower? That's crazy, isn't it? That is crazy. So what is going on? Were Red Bull using something that was illegal and therefore have been made to stop using it? Or, and this is a possibility, Boy Tendio has suggested this, and it's something that I thought of as well. So I'm sure several of us have, because many of us think in a similar manner. Are the FIA intentionally knobbling Red Bull, sandbagging them, making them have to slow down, just so that there is some drama injected into the season? Some sort of competition, because the world is bored. Well, I know strap-on fanboys aren't, but a lot of the global viewers of the sport are bored with Red Bull winning 21 out of 22 races of the season, and Max Verstappen winning 20 races a season. And do they realise that, the number of fans is dropping off? We want to introduce more drama. We want 7 race winners in 8 races, because then it's all exciting again. We want to introduce a world championship battle that people are going to, it's going to go down to Abu Dhabi again. And will it be settled on the last lap of the last Grand Prix? I wonder where that's happened before. You can't trust them. They're a corrupt governing body. It's a corrupt show. Formula One is corrupt. The FIA are corrupt. Liberty Media are corrupt. Red Bull are corrupt. In fact, Mercedes are corrupt. They're all corrupt. All of the other teams were complicit with the corruption. They just shut up and took the money and went along with the fixing before. And none of that regime's changed. Nobody's suffered any consequence of what they did in Abu Dhabi 2021. So they're just continuing to take the money, aren't they? They're continuing to profit from the show. We don't know what's authentic and what isn't. But what we do know, we can look at data, and we're not mugs, okay? Although they try and take us for fools, treat us like mushrooms, keep us in the dark and feed us on shit, right? This is what they do. They get Sky Sports F1 to give it the drama, give it Brundle and Crofty going, wow, what are we going to see? And is it going to be this? And is it going to be that? Whoa, right? This is what they want to hype all the kids up with, but we can look at data. For the past 2 seasons, that Red Bull has been head and shoulders above everything else. Now it's a second a lap slower. Why? Why? Oh, it's because Adrian Newey, the genius, is leaving. Well, that's one narrative, isn't it? That's one narrative. Who's suggesting that the designer of the McLaren car is now a genius? Because the McLaren designer has designed a car that has beaten an Adrian Newey car by 23 seconds in a race. Absolutely obliterated an Adrian Newey car. So are they now a genius? You tell me. We're not getting that narrative, are we? When Max is winning by 20 odd seconds, Max is the best you've ever seen. Oh, Adrian Newey's the best you've ever seen. Lando Norris beats Max by 23 seconds. Is he now the best you've ever seen? Who designed the McLaren? Is he now the best designer you've ever seen? What's going on? Were Red Bull illegal? Well, we're not going to get an answer to that. Are the FIA, is the sport deliberately sandbagging Red Bull to try to manufacture a closer championship? And at some point in time, when it gets a little bit closer and everyone gets a bit more excited, do apparently Red Bull come with some upgrades and then sail off into the distance again? Who knows? Who knows? But let's be clear, something isn't right. And if we just go along with this thinking this is authentic, it isn't. It isn't. Something isn't right. And just do not trust what you're seeing because, well, they've proven that they're not trustworthy. They've proven it. And what this channel is going to do, hopefully along with others, is categorically expose this corrupt show for what it is. So that's the data. You can go and look at it yourself, and if you want to go and look in greater detail, it's all on the FIA's website. So on the FIA website, you go to sport, okay, at the top here it's sport, and you come down to World Championships, FIA Formula 1 World Championship. You click on that. I'll show you if it's going to do it quickly enough. And then once it then transfers you to this page, it's got Italian Grand Prix official documents. That'll be for the next Grand Prix. Click on that. And this section here, filter by. And you can select the season. So let's go 2023 season, for example. Event. And it's got the Dutch Grand Prix. Okay. And then you can scroll down and select all the documents from there. And I selected final race classification. It gives you downloads the PDF to your computer, and then basically once you've downloaded it, you get that. Okay, so you can look at these yourself. You can select your season, select your race, and look at the data. The data is what it is. It's not lying, is it? It's not lying. It's telling you the times that Red Bull car was lapping of these circuits in those previous years and what it is this year. And you can go through that. You can go through that and you can identify what is actually going on. Anyway, that'll do on this bit. I'm now going to take you through some of the audio recordings that I recorded when watching that event. So when watching the Grand Prix on my laptop, I can rewind it. So if I hear something that is being said, it's generally by Brundle and Crofty, and I think, well, that's not right, I'll rewind it and record it. it won't show me the footage. It just records a blank screen. Unfortunately, they must have something that prevents your screen recording the live footage. But I'll take you through all these black recordings here. These black thumbnails are the ones that I did recordings of at the on Sunday. I'll take you through the top 6 in this video, and then I'll make a second video of the others. So the first one we're going to have a look at is this one. So let's have a look.
To them, but who we are racing? We think it's just Max. I think we're racing whoever we think. The car ahead.
Yeah. Not sure about that message there to Lando Norris. Here comes Carlos Sainz on the...
So, not sure about that message there. Well, what is that all about? What is that all about? If we just play that again.
To them, but who we are racing? We think it's just Max. I think we're racing whoever we think. The car ahead.
Yeah. Not sure about that message there to Lando Norris. Here comes Carlos Sainz.
So, why is the McLaren pit wall asking Lando Norris who Lando thinks his race is? What is that all about? You know, it very much seems that this show is contrived. It very much seems to me that that message is there for the TV. Because why on earth, if you're a competitor in a sporting event, well, you should be trying to win it. If you are the person that set the pole position lap, you should be trying to win it. Why are you asking the driver who do you think their race is? Well, everybody. You want to beat everybody. There's 19 of the drivers in that race. You want to win. Who's your race? Well, I need to beat them all, don't I? Rather bizarre. Now, Brundle and Crofty do go on to talk about that. But that to me says, what is going on? Why on earth have you got somebody employed by McLaren on the pit wall asking their main driver who they think they are racing in a Grand Prix? That's for the TV, that is. Right, next one. Okay, this one. You've got, they were talking about the Williams of Alex Albon that was disqualified after qualifying because the car didn't pass scrutineering. Apparently the floor was about 3 millimeters wider than is permitted. So Brundle then has this to say.
Prix going to be on the grid. They just had to shave a little bit off it, and it was good. It was good to go. Frustrating all round, but rules are rules, and you can't allow 3 mil this week and say, look, there was no advantage.
Brundle, rules are rules. Yeah. Rules are rules, says Brundle. What about Abu Dhabi 2021? What about the safety car regulations? Oh, I don't think that's mandatory, but that's usually on a wet day. But how long will they wait, Brundle? Yeah, I thought rules were rules. You know, the mandatory safety car regulations, which say, right, once the track is safe to do so, okay, the instruction will be given to those lapped cars that they are to pass the leader in the safety car. Once the last lapped car, which is the last one that's been released of all of the ones that have been lapped that are eligible to be released, once the last lapped car has passed the leader, the safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap. But I don't think that's mandatory. I don't think that's mandatory, Brundle. Okay, but that's usually on a wet day. What part of the regulations said that? Rules are rules, Martin. What part of the rules were the bullshit that you were coming up with? None of them. And how long will they wait? The safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap, Martin. But how long will they wait? See, so you can lie in Abu Dhabi, right? You can lie about what the world was going to see there to set up the fix, But here,
a little bit off it, and it was good. It was good to go. Frustrating all round, but rules are rules.
absolutely right, Martin. Next one. Okay, this one is where Brundle is talking about Lando Norris's overtake on Max. Remember in the Grand Prix, Norris started on pole, but then Max Verstappen got a better start and took the lead of that race into the first corner, and then was leading the race for quite a period of time until Norris overtook him. This is what Brundle said.
To make a big difference in this Grand Prix and use the pace of that McLaren. Max Verstappen was very fair in that move. Gave it a little jiggle, but did not do anything outrageous.
Max Verstappen was very fair. Gave it a little jiggle, but didn't do anything outrageous. So, how many drivers on the grid would you normally describe as doing something that might be outrageous? Of all the 20 drivers on that grid, which ones of those drivers have got a reputation for doing something outrageous when somebody either tries to overtake them or when they are trying to overtake somebody else? Who has got a reputation for doing something outrageous? Oh, that would be Max Verstappen. But that's the one that's got the GOAT narrative as well. Oh, he's the best you've ever seen. Well, not if he can't do it cleanly. Not if he has to do something outrageous that's just not acceptable. But they don't call it out as being unacceptable because they like to keep the strap-on fanboy happy. Oh, it's all about the money. Let's keep boosting him. We like the Orange Army because we like the conflict. Okay, let's make this tribal. Let's have this one set of supporters hating the other set of supporters, and when you've got that tribal rivalry, you create the warfare, and therefore that is going to maintain the interest. That is what Liberty Media have chosen to do with this show. That's the direction they've taken in this since they have taken ownership of it. They've introduced that. They have introduced the conflict. Filthy. Absolutely filthy. But in doing so, what they've done is they've enabled Max Verstappen. They've enabled that style of driving. Oh, he hasn't done anything outrageous. Just gave it a little jiggle this time. Thanks for that, Martin. Thanks for that. Okay, this one is Lando talking to the pits. And this is something that we're given this narrative often. And often I say, what are you worried about what the others are doing for? Have a listen to this and then I'm going to show you why.
Norris has here.
What's the plan from here?
Lando, how are the tyres?
I think okay, they feel pretty reasonable and consistent, so.
Well, Lando, we think just plan A. We think plan A. He might try the undercut, but that's cool. Plan A.
Well, the undercut, where you stop before your rival who's ahead of you on the track, put some fresh tyres on and hope that you've got enough grip to produce a barnstorming outlap, and then by the time your rival reacts, you're back out in front again because they went significantly slower on that lap before the pit stop. Norris is doing his best to try and put around about 2 seconds difference between himself and Verstappen. That should protect him from the undercut threat.
So, well, let me just play that bit again. So what Lando's pit crew actually said.
Norris has here.
What's the plan from here?
Lando, how are the tyres?
I think okay, they feel pretty reasonable and consistent, so.
Well, Lando, we think just plan A. We think plan A. He might try the undercut, but that's cool.
Okay, he might try the undercut, but that's cool. Doesn't matter what he's going to do. If you're the fastest car, you run your own race. If he's already pitted and is hoping that he can have a quick outlap and therefore gain 2 seconds on you in that outlap, so that by the time, if you pit the following lap, then he might have overtaken you whilst you're in the pits. Well, if you don't need to pit and you can carry on for another 10 laps, why are you going to go and pit? Now, the reason I say this is because I said this in Abu Dhabi 2021. If we look at Abu Dhabi 2021, we saw on, what was it, about lap 12, Max Verstappen started that race on the soft compound tyre. This red line indicates Max Verstappen was on the soft compound tyre, and after 12 laps, he pitted to go onto hard tyres. Lewis Hamilton started that race on medium compound tyres. Mercedes dragged Lewis Hamilton in the following lap to change, so they reacted to what Red Bull did. Red Bull pitted Max. The following lap, Mercedes pitted Lewis. Why did they do that? Why did they do that? Why did they then put Lewis Hamilton back out on track behind Perez? What was that all about? You look at everybody else in that race that started that race on medium compound tyres, where did they get to? Well, Bottas here, he didn't change off those medium compound tyres until about lap 29, lap 30, not lap 13. You look at Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda was on about lap 22 before he went on to hard compound tyres. That's a further 9 laps. Down here, you've got Sebastian Vettel, also about 22 laps on those medium compound tyres. Lance Stroll, he's done about 20 laps on those medium compound tyres. Nicholas Latifi, he's done about 26 laps on those medium compound tyres. Giovinazzi, he's done about 15, 16 laps on those medium compound tyres. Russell, 26 laps on the medium compound tyres. Raikkonen, done about 20 laps on the medium compound tyre. Lewis Hamilton is reputed to be one of the best in terms of tyre conservation. Okay, tyre whisperer is Lewis Hamilton. Yeah? And yet they pit him after just 13 laps. Why would you do that? When you're on tyres that are capable of 20 to 25 laps, certainly in the hands of Lewis Hamilton, he'd have managed to get 20 to 25 laps out of them. Why would you pit him after 13? Oh, but what about a safety car? Well, what about a safety car? You're the one that then gets a cheaper pit stop. No brainer, isn't it? No brainer. Oh, what if Max starts catching him? Well, what if he does? You're not going to find out, are you, straight away? What is Max's pace on those hard tyres? Well, you've made your decision before even finding out. Before Max has completed a lap on those hard compound tyres, you've pitted Lewis Hamilton. So you can't even tell if Max Verstappen is now going faster than Lewis Hamilton was on those medium compound tyres. Now, in theory, the mediums are faster than the hards. You know, in theory, the softs are the fastest, then it's the mediums, then it's the hards. If you're on the mediums, why not continue lapping on the mediums unless you need to change them? What was going on there? Another appalling strategy call from Mercedes, or was that part of the narrative to set up that drama? What was that all about? Anyway, next clip. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
And so Lewis was obliged to not run him out of road. It was absolutely fine as long as your front axle is ahead of their rear axle. You can have a go up the inside, but you do have to leave them a car's width, a racing width on the outside.
Lewis was obliged to leave him a car's width. How many times have you said that about Max Verstappen? How many times have you said that about Max Verstappen? Imola, 2021. Oh, Max is uncompromising. Max is super aggressive. Karun will tell you, oh, Max carries so much extra speed and it's understeer, and runs Lewis off the track. Lewis is obliged to leave him a car's width. Because if you don't, called crowding the other car off the track, you get at least a 5-second penalty and you get 2 penalty points on your super license. Imola 2021, nothing. When Max crowds Lewis off the track and wasn't obliged to leave him a car's width. We call that let them race, Michael. No, you're obliged to leave a car's width. You're teaching these strap-on fanboys something that's not the sport. You're teaching them that foul play is acceptable, aren't you? That's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Monza 2021. This was earlier in the race, before Max ended up on Lewis's head. Also ran him off the road at the chicane. Was Max obliged to leave Lewis a car's width there? Oh, we call that let them race. Oh, that's elbows out from Max. That's uncompromising from Max. Yeah? What about when Max chopped across the nose of Lewis when Lewis was making his way around Copse Corner at Silverstone? I've done plenty of videos about that, frame by frame. Check them out. They'll show you exactly who was to blame for Silverstone 2021. Who was obliged to leave the other one the room there? Who had 3 car widths to their left? And they had all that track room available and took the track room of the driver on the inside. Who did that, Martin Brundle? Brazil 2021. Was Max Verstappen obliged to leave Lewis Hamilton room on the outside rather than drive him 3 car widths off the track? We call that let them race. This is Jonathan Wheatley here, the man that's now going to Audi as team principal. This corrupt individual, try not to swear, lies, narrative. Saudi, okay, the chicane, that first chicane at the first corner. Well, we had one of them at a restart where Max re-entered the track in an unsafe manner, causing Lewis Hamilton to have to jump out of the way of him, allowing Esteban Ocon through. No penalty for that. But then the time when Max ran Lewis off the track. Oh, he's obliged to leave the other car 1 car's width on the outside. What did Max do there? Would have happily taken Lewis out. What about lap 1 Abu Dhabi? That lunge at turn 6. Was there a car's width on the outside there? No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't. Who's obliged, Martin? Because you then spent the next 20 minutes, you and everybody else, all the ex-Formula 1 world champions, vilifying Lewis about it. Oh, he has to give that place back. He has to give that place back. He has to give that place back. No, it's called crowding the other car off the track. So we saw that in Imola, we saw that in Monza, we saw that in Brazil, we saw that in Saudi. There's 8 points. The brake test in Audi, that's at least another 2 points. Disobeying the race director's instructions in France, re-entering the track in an unsafe manner. What he did at Monza, ending up on Lewis Hamilton's head. He shouldn't have even been racing in Abu Dhabi. That's a race ban. But didn't happen, did it? Facilitated. Manufactured. Anyway, next video. This one, it just made me spoil. Let's just listen to it first.
We are seeing here a McLaren car both with pace and preservation too. Preservation of those tyres. Mercedes are waiting for...
So we're seeing a McLaren with pace. You know, previous years we were told, oh, it's Max Verstappen. Oh, look how quick Max is. Max is incredible. But here we're seeing a McLaren with pace. It's not Lando's incredible, is it? It's not, oh, look at Lando go. Look at Lando go. This is Lando time. Right? No, it's a McLaren with pace. But tyre preservation. I thought George Russell was the tyre whisperer. we're going to come to that. We're going to come to Tyre Whisperer and see how he got on. Because in Belgium, he was a Tyre Whisperer, wasn't he? So let's see how the Tyre Whisperer gets on at the Dutch Grand Prix. That's going to be in the next video because I'm aware of how long this one's gone on already. We've gone through that top line of 6 thumbnails. So what have we got left? We've got about, I don't know, 18 to go. That'll be in the next video. Thank you for your time on this one. And tune into the next one. I'll be back doing the Abu Dhabi stuff very soon. I've been really struggling for time this week. I think we've got the Monza Grand Prix this weekend, so again, people will be focusing on that. But as soon as I get the time, I'll be back exposing some of the things which have never been exposed about Abu Dhabi. Thank you for your time on this one. Thank you to those that have recently subscribed to the channel. I do appreciate the support. And if you've not already checked out the back catalogue of videos, please check a few out. Check out some of the most viewed. You're going to see things about Abu Dhabi which have not been revealed elsewhere. It was an entire contrivance. It was an entire fix. And this sport is going to be held to account for it in the very near future. Thank you for your time.